Hi, my name is Jake Lyons, and I'm the director and editor for The Spark. We wanted to give y'all a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look on how we pulled it off. We actually shot in multiple cities, multiple states, and even multiple countries over the span of about 7 days.
The Spark is about that moment. We've all had it of, wow, that's really cool, and I want to do that.
The Spark was really about kind of two parallel storylines.
We have the cymbal player who's inspired in the lot. She sees that cymbal line warming up, she has that spark go off. At the same time, we have a parallel story happening where we are creating a cymbal.
In this first scene, we knew that our main character, Samantha Venice, was going to get her spark for the first time, so we really had to nail kind of the emotional story beats of this first sequence. It's pretty long, there's like 6 or 7 different angles. We had 3 kind of primary issues that we were dealing with. First was the time window. Like, we wanted to shoot with natural light. Like normally you'd set up lighting like I have set up right now. There's a big light here, there's a light above me, and you can kind of control the lighting, but in this case we wanted to shoot with just the sun, and the sun is only going to be low in the sky for 30 minutes, 45 minutes tops, and then it's either too high or too low on either side of that. So we were really under a time crunch. The second thing that made it really tough was we had one camera rig. So we're shooting very much on a budget. We're having to hustle. We have one camera rig that we're moving around, so we had to shoot that scene maybe 4, 5, 6 different times from different angles so we can get all the shots that we needed. So we have some wides where you can kind of see the crowd. We have some over-the-shoulder shots. You can see the drum line. We have some kind of far away, and of course the one that's up close to kind of catch our characters' emotions. And that was a very challenging sequence just because of the time constraints and what we had with the camera. The last thing that made it kind of tough was a lot of people. You know, we had the drum line that we're working with, we had our actors, we had all of the extras in the background who were just such good sports. Like, they stood there for hours between the two different scenes that we did and just had such great attitudes, did exactly what we asked. We were really thankful for everyone who participated in that video. Could not have pulled it off without them. But it's just a lot of moving parts. So this first sequence, we want it to look kind of warm and inviting and have that sunset look. And I think it turned out pretty good. So you might be wondering, how did you make this footage look so good? It's very simple. You just need to get yourself a Marcus. Now, Marcuses are typically only available in Austin, Texas, but we had to special order this one up to Nashville to get it started. But if you have a Marcus Neudigate as your DP, your footage is gonna look pretty damn good. I really think Marcus did just a phenomenal job with this. Just the shot selection, choosing the colors, and in the final edit, kind of where to show what. You know, I was lucky enough to get to do the actual edit itself and cut it together, but in terms of the decision-making process on how we frame shots, where we put people, that really is all to do with the director of photography, and Marcus, I thought, just knocked it out of the park. So after this first scene, we kind of move into this series of flashes, this like fast sequence, and it's really just the first few shots of that cymbal being hammered and forged. So kind of giving us a little bit of flash of like, yes, the story is about this character, but it also is a little bit about the cymbal being made itself. The next scene was one that our producer, Chelsea, really was excited about. It was one where you kind of see Samantha pick up cymbals for the first time.
Cut to her being in the stadium with just a pair of cymbals in front of her, where she then has to carve out what that means to become a marching cymbalist. So she looks down, she sees the cymbal, she picks them up. We
chose this kind of far away shot very intentionally to make our character feel small. The best way to make someone look vulnerable and feel small is to shoot them in a big space from super far away. So we thought we achieved that. We have this kind of low angle to the ground to kind of establish, oh, she's in the stadium by herself, kind of an epic look to that, and then kind of begins her journey.
She's watching videos to learn, to be inspired from. There's the trials and tribulations of learning how to play cymbals, people along the way to help her and really perfect her craft. We are creating a cymbal player.
From there, we went right into the training montage. Now, we were really conscious about not making this feel like a Rocky film, like we didn't want it to be like the 80s cliche montage. The soundtrack already kind of helps it in that direction a little bit anyway, so we were trying to be very careful and conscious of like, we want this to be artful, we want it to be intentional, not like a standard 80s training montage. The way we did that was try to make every single shot that we took look like a painting, or to be able to stand as a photo on its own. So as we're setting up the shot of her, on the field, or the shots of her in her bedroom, all of these where with a lot of intention, so that if I took a still frame, if I were to just take that as a photo, it would hold up on its own and look beautiful by itself. And when you put them together, hopefully it gives you a little more art than just like your standard like soundtrack over the person's doing push-ups and that kind of thing. But we wanted to have it a little bit of that feel as well. One of the techniques you see us use a lot is called a match cut, where you have two different scenes with similar framing and composition, where you can kind of draw parallel lines between two different things that are in a different place. We use it first kind of here in the training montage. You see like the cut from where it's David and Lil kind of holding the symbol up, cutting to Randy and Chelsea in the factory, and then we have it again when she's sitting at her computer, and then it cuts to the factory worker who's hammering the symbol with the machine. We use that technique all the time. It's just like a fun way to draw parallels, so you kind of have this like, oh, we're going on this journey, and there's these two different entities, but they're kind of riding along together. Like we're kind of at the same point in our journey moving along here. So there's another one of our match cuts, and fun fact, those are my legs. That is my director's cameo in this film. I managed to sneak myself in, or at least the bottom third of me, into the video. And I really like the way that that shot turned out, where we have her walking and it transitions to walking through the factory. Super, super cool. Really happy with that. So this scene in Samantha's bedroom was probably oddly one of the hardest ones to shoot. We had so much trouble getting the lighting to look right. We're filming this close to midnight, so it's very dark outside. We're lighting it totally from scratch. We're in this like pitch black house, trying to get lights mounted where you can see her just enough and you can see the symbols, and we would have the computer actually act as a little bit of a light. So we really were playing around with this and trying to get this kind of Netflix look on some of these shots. I really think we nailed it eventually, but it was very stressful for about an hour trying to get this shot set up. I think we were all pretty tired at this point in the day too, and really struggled to get this done. Fun fact about that laptop shot, Ileana actually dropped her symbol on the laptop twice. That's mostly my fault. Like, her instructions were to drop the symbol because she's like learning how to do it right now. She's still in her training montage, but it kept landing kind of near the computer, and I was maybe egging her on too much, and it did end up hitting the laptop twice and actually damaging the laptop. So there are chunks missing out of Chelsea's laptop. Chelsea, I'm sorry, suffer for art, I guess, right? The bruises also. So Lil is actually a world-class cymbal player, and those bruises are real. They are from actual cymbal playing, and if you're a cymbal player, you know you beat up your forearms quite a bit. So we wanted to show that of like, it's not makeup, those are actual bruises that she got from practicing cymbals, which is a kind of a fun Easter egg. So this hallway scene where she finds out she makes the drum line, one of my absolute favorites. It's obviously a big story beat in kind of her journey is her learning that she's finally done it. She's finally made the cymbal line and kind of gets to begin her cymbal journey. So I thought Lil just did an amazing job with her performance in this. We asked her to do a whole lot where she'd have to change her expression, then turn around and change her expression again, and she was such a good sport about all the things that we asked her to do. One of my favorite shots in the whole film is actually here at the end, where after she turns and her face is in just the edge of the frame, and she has that little bit of a smile. That was actually Marcus's idea, to have her just cropped on the edge where we have a super, super close up of her face, and it turned out to be one of the coolest shots in the whole film.
There's so many incredible people that were casted to be part of the Spark. Not only do we have our main lead, but we have the cymbal players that join her in the cymbal line. And I think that that's a really important aspect of being in the marching community, is the fact that you're not doing it by yourself. It's about the people that you're marching with. And I think that we're able to capture the fact that it's this community-based activity within this short film.
So then we get to the big payoff, the final lot scene where we have our world-class cymbal line playing for the first time. Now, these guys were absolute rock stars because they had less than one rehearsal to make it look like they had been rehearsing all season. So you have this drum line and you have the cymbal line. The cymbal line are kind of from all over the place. They're flown in from everywhere. We flew all those people in. They had an afternoon rehearsal with Scoot to make sure that they could sort of look like they'd been playing together for a season, and it actually turned out that they were great. And they learned that sequence just for this film. So all those visuals, all that choreography was specifically for the Spark.
The full circle moment is that she is then that cymbal player in the lot, and she's inspiring the next generation of cymbal players. Someone's watching her, they have that feeling of, wow, that is so cool. I want to do that.
And this is my favorite part. Man, I get choked up when I watch this back. I think when I was in it, editing over and over, like I didn't realize how much impact that moment had. But when you go back and watch it after kind of stepping away from it a little bit, I realized like that's the moment that I think resonated with a lot of people. Like on their performance journey, a lot of us kind of had this moment where the next person inspired us, and then maybe we passed it on to somebody else. But one thing that I really, really love, right as that fist bump happens, you have this high note that kind of sings over the top.
And let them dream.
In the soundtrack, and like that's when I get those chills. Also, our actor there like turns away from camera, and then when she turns back to camera, she has just like this beaming smile, like a whole face smile, and it just was perfect. Like these 4 seconds, I think, really sold everybody on what we were trying to do here, and I just was so excited about how it turned out. So I bet you're wondering, how did you make the soundtrack sound so good?
To create their spark and let them dream.
It's very simple. You just have to get yourself a Russell. Now, Russell Wharton is an incredible composer. I've gotten to work with him on several film projects over the last few years. Always just a 10 out of 10 with his delivery, and he's just so much fun to collaborate with as a creative. Also, he writes really cool percussion ensemble pieces. You should check out his stuff. We've played some of his stuff in the past. It's pretty fantastic. As we get into this final sequence here, again, just one more shout out to the drumline performers in this. They had a long day, and we asked them to do a lot. We were up super late, like 1 in the morning. They were great sports. They drummed all day. They took weird instructions from us, and they just, it was one of those things we didn't have to even worry about because we knew they were going to be doing exactly the things that we needed them to do. So just really thankful that we got to work with a fantastic drumline as our cast drumline in this project. And one more Easter egg for you in this little flash sequence here. So 2 of the Seavine designers on staff, Tomas and Jerry, get a 2-frame cameo in this little sequence. So if your pause game is strong, you can have like a singular frame where you see Jerry in frame and a singular frame where you see Tomas in this sequence. Blink and you miss it, but I just thought it was a cool way to include some of the people who were also creative collaborators on this project. Obviously did a great job just trying to give them some love in this sequence. And then we wrap up with this one more epic super wide shot, again, kind of reminiscing back to when she first started her journey. We used the same technique again from a different angle up high, making her look really, really small in a really big space. And then having that like match cut one more time, just kind of harken back to that thematic motif, I guess you could call it, where she transitions into her like full performer self. And then that's when you see the fully realized symbol for the first time. And those journeys kind of culminate all at the same time there at the end.
She has the symbols in her hand. She's a master of her craft. She places the symbols back down, and that's where the story ends, but also that the cycle continues. I get goosebumps just thinking about it.
So I hope you enjoyed getting a little bit of a behind the scenes look at how we made the spark. I'm just so proud on how this turned out, and it would not have happened without so many amazing people collaborating, and it was just a beast of a project.
It goes without saying that none of this would be possible without SABIAN. What makes this partnership so special is that they have this ideal of, I hate to think we couldn't. I hate to think we couldn't create the best symbol for the marching arts. I'd hate to think we couldn't make it sound the best, look the best. And I think that these symbols are going to be an extreme game changer when it comes to being a marching symbolist.
Thanks so much, y'all. We'll see you in the next one.